Hey, have you ever wondered where your rent money goes every month? Every month, millions of people pay their rent. They do it month after month, year after year. And where does it go? It doesn't build anything they can carry forward. It's no ownership, there's no equity, just some receipts. And that question, where does that money go, is at the center of today's discussion. Today, we're going to talk about how first-time homebuyers can begin building long-term wealth through real estate, and why buying a home is often much more than simply finding a place to live. As a realtor and a mortgage lender, I work with first-time buyers every day. One of the most common things I hear is, I didn't realize buying a home could actually help me build wealth. And that reaction usually comes from the assumption that homeownership is just a lifestyle choice, when in reality, it's also a financial structure. To understand why, we need to start with home equity. Home equity is the portion of the home that the owner actually owns, and it's calculated by taking the home's current value and subtracting what's still owed on the property. Each time a homeowner makes a mortgage payment, a portion of that payment reduces that loan balance. And over time, that reduction adds up. Rent payments, on the other hand, don't create ownership. Once rent is paid, that money is gone with no lasting financial return. Mortgage payments, while they do include interest, gradually build equity and ownership. According to the National Association of Realtors, homeowners have significantly higher median net worth than renters, largely because of this long-term equity accumulation. In other words, two people can spend similar amounts on housing and over time, but only one of them is building a financial asset as they do so. Equity growth is only part of this picture. The second key factor is property appreciation. And appreciation refers to the increase in homes' value over time. When real estate markets can fluctuate in the short term, long-term historical data shows a general upward trend. The S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller Home Price Index demonstrates that U.S. home values have historically increased over extended periods. This means that many homeowners benefit in two ways. One, they're paying down their debt while also owning an asset that tends to increase in value over time. That combination is what makes homeownership a long-term wealth-building strategy rather than a short-term financial move. This is not a get-rich-quick system. If it were, we'd all be retired and sitting on a beach somewhere. Homeownership works best when it's viewed as a gradual long-term process. This long-term impact becomes even clearer when we look at a broader wealth data. A study highlighted by Realtor.com found that the median net worth of homeowners is dramatically higher than that of renters, in many cases 40 times. And this gap is not simply explained by income differences. Instead, it reflects the cumulative effect of owning an appreciating asset and building equity over time. And this is where generational wealth comes into the conversation. Homes are often one of the first major assets families can pass on, leverage, or use to create financial stability across generations. For many households, home equity becomes a source of emergency funds, education funding, or retirement support later in life. Another often overlooked factor is housing affordability over time, especially in relation to inflation. When someone buys a home with a fixed rate mortgage, their principal and interest payment remains the same over the life of the loan. While taxes and insurance may change, the core housing cost becomes predictable. Rent, however, typically increases over time, often rising alongside inflation or market demand. In that sense, a fixed housing payment can act as a partial hedge against inflation. While other living costs rise, the homeowner's largest monthly expense becomes more stable and easier to plan around. Of course, none of this means that buying a home is the right decision for everyone at every stage of life. Timing, affordability, and personal circumstances matter. According to the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances, households that own homes for longer periods tend to accumulate significantly more wealth than renters, which reinforces the importance of stability and this process. Successful first-time buyers tend to focus on affordability, realistic budgeting, and planning to stay in the home for several years. Wealth building through real estate is not flashy, but it's consistent. To bring this all together, homeownership remains one of the most accessible ways for first-time buyers to begin building long-term wealth. Through equity growth, property appreciation, and predictable housing costs, a home can become more than just a place to live. It can become a financial foundation. Buying a first home is not just about square footage, countertops, or paint colors. It's about turning monthly expense into a long-term asset. And that shift can shape financial stability for years to come. And that's a powerful thing to unlock with a set of keys.